John Elway, when he traded away Emmanuel Sanders yesterday to the San Francisco 49ers, what is that team, 2-5?
I believe so, yes.
They're 2-5. He gets traded away to an undefeated team. Emmanuel Sanders had quite a glow up there in just one decision by a general manager and another general manager. Two former players, John Elway, John Lynch, negotiate the deal. John Elway says, the locker room knows why we got rid of him. The locker room knows that this is not the standard we're going to have here for the Denver Broncos. He alluded to him being selfish and something happening after the Tennessee Titans game between Emmanuel Sanders and somebody else in the locker room. Josh Sitton was on in the first hour. He said that he would assume that Emmanuel Sanders was sick of losing, so maybe his emotions got the best of him or the worst of him in a moment. Maybe he said something to a coach, went after somebody. Maybe he said something like that. And John Elway, for some reason, couldn't get over it. Like, these types of situations do happen. Players do tell coaches to go straight to hell in situations where there's a high tensions, very competitive atmosphere.
Yep.
Instant results on whether or not you're doing good or not doing good. I mean, they literally keep score. So those types of situations can bring a lot of tension. So Emmanuel Sanders did something after the Tennessee Titans game that John Elway could not get past, could not get over. I would assume John Elway had been looking for a suitor for Emmanuel Sanders for a few weeks now. I would assume that John Elway in this story will come out at some point. Emmanuel Sanders has to have two good games for the 49ers, and the questions will come to Emmanuel Sanders, why wasn't it working in Denver? And he'll say, well, you're going to have to ask them about that. And then somebody will ask them about that. And at some point, Adam Schefter or one of these insiders will get to the bottom of it, and they'll be like, apparently, after the Tennessee Titans game, Emmanuel Sanders threatened to smack a mother in the mouth. Something along those lines will happen. And I found it interesting that John Elway was accusing people of being selfish because literally John Elway, one of the most successful, not only businessmen, but quarterbacks of all time and quarterback businessmen of all time. Guy has 45 different car dealerships in Denver. He's making money right now while doing nothing. He's getting paid well to run a good operation out there in Denver. They're not great now, but he had success. But he started something called the Quarterback Club whenever he was in the NFL. Him, Marino, Kelly, I believe there's a couple others. And
Favre was in there.
Maybe, I don't remember. But he was like one of the leaders of this quarterback club, which is literally a slanderous term in the NFL because of how incredibly selfish they were with deals and money and everything like that. So to hear him come out and say, well, we're not going to have a selfish culture, it's like, hey, John, no offense. You're an incredible quarterback. Incredible quarterback. Talked to Terrell Davis yesterday. He talked about how that team, all they want to do is they did the Patriot way, but only for a few years. They had a 3-year run where they were doing the Patriot way before the Patriot way. He compared them to the Patriots, but he very much understood that the Patriots have been doing this for almost 2 decades, so it's on a much grander scale. But they did the Patriot way where they worked hard, attention to detail, situational football, do your job, all that stuff. I respect the hell out of John Elway, what he did on the football field, and I respect him as a businessman. But you sound a little bit like a hypocrite whenever you come out and say, oh, you can't be selfish. That's not the standard in his locker room. When literally the quarterback club is known for being an incredibly selfish group of humans. And you're the face of it almost. So that's an interesting thing. And we'll see how the Denver Broncos bounce back. But that caught my eye this morning while we were on a plane. I was like, it's funny you say that, Mr. Elway.
It's very interesting because he got very specific in a sense. I mean, intentionally brought up that there was an issue to the media for a reason, and then specifically said, after what happened at the Tennessee game, we just thought this was the best choice for everyone involved. That's a very specific reference. And then when he's asked, well, what specifically happened at the Titans game? Well, we're not going to get into that.
You just did.
Yeah, you just brought us to this point.
Excuse me. We didn't even know the Titans were involved in this. And now you're bringing us here, and now you want to elaborate. It's like
he's dabbling the carrot.
Who is that investigator? Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a good one.
I sent Go-Go Gadget. Is that guy?
Inspector Gadget, yeah. That's the
Same guy, the guy that is Go-Go Gadget, Inspector Gadget?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He used to do the thing with the arms?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I did the thing with the arms to send text messages out to the people I know in that Broncos locker room because as soon as I read that, I wanted to know what the hell happened, and nobody has responded to me. This is like becoming a new thing, by the way.
Curse of having a show.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I'll ask a question to somebody, and they'll respond to me. They'll be like, I can't tell you what really happened. Just want to let you know I'm happy you're doing well, and if you ever want to have a beer, we can do that. I'm like, will you please just give me an exact quote? I'll say it's
So no one thank you for the 2 wins that we brought the Broncos, or that you. I mean, they'd be staring down the barrel of 0-7 right now.
Great
if it
point.
wasn't for having Joe Flacco on the podcast and him playing elite for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Something to think about.
I'm going to send more texts. I just want to let you know, if you're in the Broncos locker room and I have your phone number, I'm about to be bombarding you. It's going to get to the spam thing, because that is so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like, yeah, we're trying to tank and we're trying to rebuild. He didn't say that at all. He said, no, we're trying to win games now.
Mm-hmm.
This is strictly because of what happened in this situation. Will you tell us about that situation? No. Well, so what the hell are we doing here?
What did you say you were trading him?
Imagine if I was in that press conference area. I think it was a conference call. So it's on the phone, and they probably can just mute me if I'm on there. Hey, wait a minute, Mr. Elway. You can't do that. Yeah, I can. I'm the boss. All right. I guess you're right. I don't know what to tell you, but somebody needs to follow up on that.
I'm going to start a general manager's club.
I think it's just tough, too, because the public perception is that, like, you know, he's an egomaniac.
Who?
Elway.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, at least, you know, every time I think of Elway, I think of him being just an ass, and then when he fired John Fox, thanking himself. Like, it was like a little Freudian slip of the tongue, but you could tell, you know, it just...
What do you mean?
So they fired John Fox after he was out of town. He said, first off, I'd just like to thank John Elway. And then he started laughing. He said, you know, John Elway, John Fox. Like, he just, I think he is an egomaniac, and I think that kind of leans in more to your point that Sanders said something he didn't like, and he's like, all right, screw it, let's get this guy out of here.
And it's just such an interesting situation, because whenever people get traded, normally both sides just try to take the high ground. All right, like, we're just trying to take the high ground here. And we'll just move forward. It's like a breakup, right? It's like a breakup. And then ultimately, there's going to be some negative feelings, but publicly, you're always like, hey, let's just move forward here. We're both better off now. Emmanuel Sanders woke up on an undefeated team this morning. Elway now has the problem out. Let's do it. Instead, Elway almost stirs the pot a little bit and was like, oh, this guy wasn't really that good of a teammate. Almost. That's what he's alluding to whenever he says these type of things happen. Now, I have to wonder, after talking to John Lynch, by the way, for like 15 minutes before that Stanford game, he was there. His kid plays for Stanford. He was on the sideline. I got a chance to meet him for the first time. Looks like he can still play, by the way. His neck. He was all decked out in Stanford gear because he went to Stanford. His kid was going to Stanford. I mean, it was a very casual conversation with him. He used to do TV too, so he had a very good, like, he understood what I was going through and stuff like that. Cool conversation. He even knew that I thought about coming back, by the way.
Really?
He said, I want to let you know, a lot of us had conversations about whenever you thought about coming back, about potentially reaching out. I was like, that means a lot. I want to let you know that. Hey, John, I want to let you know. That means a lot. He said, I did talk to somebody who knows you, though, and they said it's probably going to take a little bit for you to pass the test, and we both had a good laugh. And I was like, yeah, probably accurate. But he was a very good guy talking to him. And he said he's building a team that he really likes, right? Like, they're really good right now. He said, we're building a team that we really like. Hasselbeck asked him about, like, hey, why's your run game working? Can you point out one particular person? And he was like, no, it's everybody. Like, everybody. The wide receivers are blocking. Like, it's a team thing. So I would wonder, when you're building something that way, if John Elway calls you and you're negotiating a deal, did John Elway tell John Lynch about the situation that happened after the Titans thing, or did he wait to release that until after the trade? That's a very interesting thing for me to think about. I would assume, because Lynch did work for the Broncos a little bit as a scout,
right,
that they had that conversation. And if it's something that Lynch was like, yeah, I can handle that, and Elway was like, no, I can't handle that, that's something that I can't wait to find out about. Like, what is Lynch like? Yeah, I'm cool with that happening. And Elway's like, no, we got to get him the hell out of here.